If you want Colts talk all year long, you're in the right place.
Fires upfield into the end zone. It is caught. Jelani Woods, touchdown. He's going to fire upfield. It's broken up. Tipped and intercepted by the Colts.
This is the official Colts podcast, giving you an updated look at what's new with the Horseshoes.
Colts have it. Interception. 2 seconds left, and the Colts are going to win.
In the Indiana Union Construction Industry radio studio, let's get the podcast started.
Let's start it rolling. We're diving right in. Welcome to the official Colts podcast here on a Thursday. You got the Thursday crew here before the Colts take on the New England Patriots in Germany, flying across the Atlantic Ocean as the Colts get ready for the international series against the New England Patriots. Bill Brooks is over there. Casey Valier. I'm Matt Taylor. Thanks for joining in here on YouTube and, of course, on the official Colts podcast. We're brought to you by WinBet, I should say the Colts Audio Network here on the official Colts podcast. A lot of things to smooth out here. my brain is all scrambled getting ready for this 9-hour flight that the Colts are getting ready to embark on over to Germany. Bill, in your time in the NFL, what was the longest flight or the longest trip you had to take? Like, did you ever play the 49ers when you were in Buffalo out there? I mean, that had to have been like a 4 or 5 hour flight, right?
I'm not sure, but I actually did play in Germany.
Oh, you did?
Yeah.
Oh.
I played in Germany, played in Berlin on 1993 with Buffalo preseason game.
Okay.
So played Minnesota Vikings. So it was fun. So that was probably the longest trip I took to play a game.
All right, now, can you guys sleep on planes?
You know, that's an interesting question because I don't think I've been on a plane. So
You either can or you can't.
I'm not very well traveled, so like my longest flight was to Las Vegas.
Okay.
So it's a couple hours.
Well, you were passed out probably. Coming back on the way home.
On the way home.
Yeah.
Yes.
But I don't really think I've really tried. If that, I know
Okay.
that sounds silly. Like
I
I've
can't
never
do
been in the plane
planes.
long enough that I've needed to sleep.
What
if
about
that
you?
makes sense.
I can sleep, but not sound. I can sleep. I'm still hearing things. I'm asleep. I'm hearing things. Just not comfortable sleeping on planes.
Yeah.
I do not do well on planes, so
Good luck tonight.
Yeah, exactly. So if you guys get on CNN tomorrow and you hear about somebody that jumped out of a plane in the middle of Atlantic, that's probably me. So we'll see.
Make sure your parachute works.
No, I'll just do a cannonball.
Nothing but water below me. Here we go.
Yep. Throw out the life preserver. We'll see what we can do. Call the game remotely, I suppose. We're definitely getting out the passports here on this podcast, talking about Colts and Patriots. What's going on with the Patriots? We'll talk about that. They are just 2-7, a very un-Patriot-like season here in 2023. We'll talk about that team travel. We'll talk about New England's up and down season. We're also going to give you our keys to the game, kind of our 2 to 3 word key phrase keys of the game, but we're doing that in German. All right, so we're going to bust out our German thesauruses here and see if we can talk about some X's and O's and some keys of the game for the Colts coming up on Sunday. But obviously, we're going to lead off with 4-down territory. The top 4 key storylines for the Colts and Patriots going into this game, we kind of already joked about it a little bit. It's team travel, all right? So if you're not engaged on what the Colts are going through this week, today is Thursday, so they practiced like normal yesterday, or I should say they held a walkthrough like normal yesterday. They will practice like normal today. But then after that, things get all out of whack. They're going to fly to Germany tonight, taking a red-eye across the world, flying 9 hours to Germany tonight, landing German time tomorrow, I guess Friday, about noon German time, which will be about 6, 7 o'clock in the morning body time-wise if you're a Colts player, and then going through a walkthrough tomorrow in Germany, and then getting ready for the game like normal once they land. So that's kind of where the Colts are at right now. But, Bill, I didn't know about the German preseason game in Buffalo. What were your biggest hurdles as a player trying to get reacclimated to a different time zone all the way across the world, trying to get ready for a game as a player? There's a lot of things that go into that I think the normal people don't realize.
Yeah, it's different going to another country playing football game, especially with the time difference and getting your body adjusted to their time. When I did it, we went there early. We were there Monday. It was a preseason game, so we were there all week.
Yeah.
So we got adjusted by the end of the week. Now, for these guys, I mean, they're trying to keep this as normal as possible. I mean, close to it as possible as far as getting there with their practice routines and things of that nature. To me, one of the biggest things you have to be aware of is just your hydration, making sure you stay hydrated, and just eating. I mean, for us, the food was a little different, so we had to get acclimated to the food, things like that, which a lot of people don't think about. But the actual practice and things that we went through was pretty much the same over there. But for the most part, it was just the time change and getting adjusted to the food.
Yeah, and sleep too. Again, for those
sleep. Time change.
That don't do well on the plane.
Okay,
well, you got to figure that out because. Listen, we did London. This is a little personal anecdote. We did London in 2016. It did not go well for Matt Taylor. Again, because I do not sleep well on planes. And so when we got to London, it was time to be up all day. Body clock-wise, Matt Taylor wanted to go to sleep. And that's exactly what he did. So basically, when it was time to be up in London, I was tired. And it was time to go to bed, I was up. And I was watching anything on London TV, all right? So I got my,
How was London TV?
The BBC was great. All right,
I'm sure you saw a lot of shows on BBC.
I was up to date on the Queen, let's put it that way. No, but seriously, Casey, the Colts have never played a game in Germany, nor have the Patriots. Both teams are kind of embracing the same travel logistics. New England's going to leave tonight on Thursday night, taking the red eye over as well. With that in mind, does either team have an edge when it comes to this game due to travel or anything like that?
I don't think so, because I think everybody, if you look at the travel schedules and everything, they're both doing it the same way. It was funny. I think Shane Steichen talked about that this week of you don't really know who has the edge because last week you're trying to get intel from the games in Germany because ultimately those are the first times it's really happened. So you're trying to take, intel from what the Chiefs and Dolphins did. The Dolphins left on Monday. They lost. So in that way, it looked like the Chiefs who left on Thursday, they had the leg up. So this week, both teams are leaving on Thursday. So Shane said, I guess if we win, we had the best plan. So it's one of those things where I don't really know if you can tell who really has the leg up. I think both teams, you just kind of play it by ear. You try to make it as normal as you can in a situation that's very unnormal, if you will. So it's going to be weird. I really don't know if either team's going to have the leg up. It's whoever comes out ready to play the best on Sunday.
Yeah, I'm excited for it. Once we get to Germany, I think I'll be okay. But just excited for a different atmosphere and playing in front of a different fan base. They've certainly embraced American football over there. That's why this game exists. But Deutsche Bank Park, where the game's going to be played. Just doing some research on that. It's the building was established in 1925. It's a Bundesliga stadium. I don't pretend to know soccer, but obviously that's a very big deal, Premier League deal. So a lot of history there. So just really looking forward to embracing all of it and going in with an open mind. So let's talk about the game itself and the Patriots. As we said, this is second down on our 4-down territory here. Down season for the Patriots, 2-7. They've lost 2 in a row, 5 of their last 6. They're in last place in the AFC East. They have the worst record in the conference. Let me repeat that. The New England Patriots are dead last in the AFC right now. This is the worst start to a season under Bill Belichick since his first season in New England since 2000. They're under 5 games under 500 for the first time since 2000, that same season. Uncharted waters here, fellas. This is a Patriots team, Bill, that they've spent the better part of 20 years contending for Super Bowls and playing in AFC championship games and routinely winning the AFC East. Why are they so bad? What's going on?
It's we're not used to seeing that from the New England Patriots as far as being in last place, and they're not playing well. If you look at some of their offensive stats, they're at the bottom of yards per game, rushing yards per game, passing yards per game. They're at the bottom. I think a lot of that has to do with they really don't. I would say this: Mac Jones is not playing well. Yeah. That's the bottom line. When you have 9 interceptions, 10 touchdowns, 9 interceptions, that makes it very difficult. And I think they haven't really supplied him with a lot of weapons on the outside. They have some guys that are good, but they just haven't been able to make plays. And also, I think before they had a guy that can cover up some of the warts that they might have had, and that was Tom Brady. They don't have that right now. They don't have that. And also, from a defensive standpoint, usually they're pretty good at taking the ball away.
Yeah.
they're not that good anymore taking the ball away. At least they haven't been thus far this year. So I think those are some of the problems that the Patriots are having right now, and that's why you're not seeing them excel this year.
Well, the strength of their team is defensively stopping the run. They're good in terms of yards per carry. They're also a top 5 team, Casey, in red zone defense. So they don't give up a lot of explosive plays, and they make you earn it once you're inside the 20-yard line. But to Bill's point, they have scored the fewest points per game and allowed the most points per game of any of Bill Belichick's 29 seasons as an NFL head coach. I mean, that goes back to the Cleveland days there when he was with the Browns. So they're on the verge, Casey, unless they have a massive turnaround here the rest of the season at 2-7. Unless that happens, they're on the verge of missing the playoffs for the third time in 4 years since Tom Brady bolted.
Yeah, there's a handful of things that I think that all combines to where they are. Ultimately, they do have a tough schedule. I'm not at all saying that is the reason, because I think they've had a tough schedule and they have played it that way, where they've really, in those games where they should have taken advantage of their tougher schedule, like teams like the Saints. We saw what the Saints did. Saints a good team, but they went out and got blanked by
destroyed.
The Saints. 30, I think it was 36-0. So it's those games where when you find a game in between your Miamis, your Buffaloes, all of those teams they're going to play multiple times a year, you have to take advantage. They didn't. You look at the guys they counted on, guys like Matthew Judon, he's been hurt. You look at probably their top receiver in Kendrick Bourne, he just got hurt. They signed Juju Smith-Schuster. He has been injury-plagued. Devontae Parker looks like he's lost a step from what he was the last handful of years. So you put all of those eggs into that basket, and now you're down to your 4th, 5th, and 6th receivers on your depth chart. Hunter Henry's a really good player, but when he is the focal point of your offense, teams can key in on him. So Hunter Henry is having an average year, but outside of that, they just don't have any dynamic weapons. They signed Ezekiel Elliott. He's not Ezekiel Elliott of 2018. So what you've seen out of him, and he looks, like he has lost a little bit of a step. Ramondre Stevenson's not averaging a lot of yards. He had his first game last week, over 60 rushing yards. So all of that, when you look at this offense, probably before the year, you thought, yeah, they can go out and be serviceable. And it just hasn't worked. And you talked about the struggles that Mac Jones has had. Offensive line, all of that has kind of played into it. Defensively, they're not taking the football away. They don't have any marquee players like you're typically used to seeing. They got a couple guys that are pretty good players, like Barmore's a really good run stopper, but he's not a guy who's going to jump off the stat page. Kyle Duggar can make some splash plays here and there, but ultimately, they just don't have your typical Patriots blueprint. And it's one of the things that we thought, at least me personally, when you talk about what you've seen out of this team this year, it's uncharacteristically, I thought it was going to be that way when they drafted Mac Jones. I thought, okay, Tom Brady's out of the picture. It's going to be a down year as they kind of work their way back in, and we didn't see that until now. So now you're starting to see those wrinkles that they have, just the ball's flipping the other way.
I'm surprised because, Mac Jones won 10 games as a rookie, and I think 2022, 2023 combined, he's won just 8 games.
Right.
And I know it's not all on him, but to your point, Bill, he's not playing all that well right now, not up to that standard. Now, he's had, 4 different offensive coordinators.
That's another thing,
in the last 3 years. Bill O'Brien is now – he's back in New England after those Alabama stints the last couple of years there. So, obviously, I think we just kind of all agreed that the Colts going into this game – they're the better team. They're the better team on paper. They have an advantage in this game. But, Bill, I'll pose this to you first. I mean, if the Colts aspire to seriously get in the mix in the playoff hunt, this is one of those games you got to win. And I know it's challenging because you're going across the world and you're playing them in such a, different abnormal environment. But once the game's kicked off, it's the Colts and Patriots, and the Colts have to be the better team, and they have to take advantage of, quite frankly, an inferior team, just like they did last Sunday against Carolina.
Yeah, on paper, if you look at yes, the Colts are the better team if you look at it on paper. But to me, it's going to be who can make the best adjustments, making this trip over to overseas and playing in a neutral site, so to speak, playing a football game over in Germany. And the team that can make the best adjustments and can adjust to the time change and to the travel and go out there and play efficient, I think that's the team that's going to win. And as you said, it's very important. Being 4-6 or 5-5 is a big difference.
This time of year, too.
It's a big difference, and you're going in.
And the AFC is a jumbled mess. In the standings,
exactly.
the playoff standings.
Exactly. And then You get a chance to have a bye after that, and if you're 5-5, having a bye, rest up. The guys that are banged up, hopefully they can heal. That will go a long way for a team, especially for the Colts. And you're right back in it. I mean, anything can happen in the last 7 games. You just don't know what's going to happen. If you look at the Colts' remaining schedule, they got the Bucs at home, away with the Titans, away in the Bengals, home with the Steelers, away with the Falcons, home with the Raiders, and home with the Texans. Games that if you look at, say, okay, all winnable games that you can win. So I think this game is important to piggyback off of last week's win and also to get ready and rest for the bye and then the rest of the season.
And that's a great point. The bye is so key here because let's say you go out and get a victory and you head into the bye at 5-5 and knock on wood, hopefully you can come out of this game injury unscathed. If you look at what the roster is heading into that final stretch and you get an extra week to let guys like Juju Brents and Braden Smith, Braden Smith, he practiced in full.
Josh
yesterday
Downs.
was a walkthrough, but he practiced in full of what yesterday would have been. So even if Braden plays, giving him an additional week to continue to heal up for that final stretch, as you talk about, you look at the schedule, it's an NFL schedule. Any given Sunday you can have things happen.
Exactly.
But ultimately, this is a winnable schedule, and if you can get healthy at the right time, all these other teams have to play each other. Let them beat each other up. You just go out there and take care of business. And I like when you say 4-6 or 5-5. It's crazy what one game matters.
Makes a big difference.
Drastic.
Yes, it makes a big difference. I mean, I think we all will want to be 5-5. You're back at 500. You're ready to go, and let's see what happens these last 7 games.
Yeah, and I know this is kind of piggybacking on what you had to say, but I mean, I agree with what you said about the neutral site game. I know Rick Venturi agrees as well. The fact that this game's not in Foxborough, I know the Patriots. I know the Patriots
are not.
It
What their record is.
Yeah, right. That's a house of horrors. It really is. I mean, that place stinks. That place stinks. It's not a fun place to get to. It's not a fun place to be a part of when the Colts are losing. The fans are pretty relentless. Colts have lost 7 straight games in Foxborough.
Wow.
The last win for the Colts there, 2006. So let's go Germany. Let's go Schnitzel. All right? Home field advantage, eating a Bavarian pretzel there. All right, let's go to third down real quick. We talk about this every week, but the run game importance on Sunday. Jonathan Taylor led the Colts in rushing last week. He had 47 yards on 18 carries. As a team, the Colts averaged just 2.6 on the ground. The last time the Colts won a game with an average like that or worse, 2018. So it doesn't happen very often. But the Patriots do stop the run well. They rank number 2, as we said, in the NFL in yards per carry allowed at 3.4. They've held 6 of 9 opponents to under 4 yards per carry. But I still think, fellas, it's really important for the Colts to establish the run game early, be effective in that regard against the Patriots to take some of the load off of Gardner Minshew, especially, Bill, if the Colts might be down Josh Downs and Drew Ogletree in this game. Both guys are going to fly. Both guys are going to practice. We'll see where they're at, on Friday and Saturday leading into the game. But there's a chance the Colts might be down both of those guys. I just think that it's very important, like we say every week, that the Colts establish Jonathan Taylor. He doesn't have to run for, 75 yards in the first half, but he needs to be good in terms of keeping the Colts on schedule down and distance-wise to take some of that pressure off of Gardner Minshew in this game.
Oh, I agree. I think he needs to be good, not just JT, but also Zach needs to be good as well. But just running the ball to keep them off balance. I mean, just to keep them thinking that, hey, you know what? They're going to pass. Oh, no, here we go. We run the ball. Okay, they're going to run the ball. No, we pass. To keep them off balance. And I think if we can establish a run with JT and Zach and run the ball efficiently and effectively, then, of course, hopefully that can set up play-action pass, as everyone knows that. But I think running the ball for this team and not being so, for lack of a better term, pass-happy, throwing the ball a lot, I think that benefits this team and this personnel that we have for the Indianapolis Colts. I think that will benefit the team as far as moving the ball down the field, keeping the opponents off the field, eating up some clock, and hopefully being successful in the red zone. Do those things. I think by running the ball, you can do those things and help yourself out.
I think one of the things, too, if you look at what this team has done every week heading into an opponent where they are a top 5 rushing defense, this team has really kind of taken it in stride, almost like, okay, here, we'll show you what we can do. I think last week was just an odd game. Like from an offensive standpoint, there were a lot of, issues, but it was one of those things where the game was never really close. So it was almost like it was masked a little bit, almost like, okay, well, this isn't working, but our defense is playing so well, so we're just going to – so I almost chalked last week up to like you were ahead of the game and you just made sure you didn't turn the football over. So I almost – last week is kind of an anomaly to me. I know you can't say that in the grand scheme of things, but ultimately I don't look at last week and
That's
go –
how it felt, though. You're right.
Like,
that's how it felt.
And I look at the way the offenses was last week and I think, okay, this week's game plan is going to be a lot different. And I think ultimately the run game – it starts everything. I mean, we know that. I mean, Jonathan Taylor, we've talked about how important he is, and we look at what Zach Moss has done still. You look at both those guys, they have to be a very important part of the offense week in and week out. And I think that's going to be the way this is approached. And I always go back to, I think it was the 2021 game when Jonathan Taylor was just a couple yards here and there against the Patriots, and then boom, he busted one. And ultimately, I think that's what this game is going to be like. You're gonna get your losses. You got to take your lumps in the run game, but you have to stick to it because you keep charging, and that's when you're going to be able to break one open, and that's what's going to separate the game, I think.
Yeah, to your point, Jonathan Taylor played his season high 75% of the snaps last Sunday against the Panthers. I think he's back being the focal point of this offense, and I think it happened the way we thought it was going to happen in terms of it was just kind of organic.
Right.
It was just kind of a matter of time. It wasn't forced. It's not like they threw him in there coming off of PUP, in week 2 following the injury, and they say, here, all of a sudden, here's 30 carries. Like that would have been, a little irresponsible. Right. But that's where he is right now. So I think his role is kind of organically being defined right now. All right, quickly, let's go on 4th down. You got to leave the turnovers here in the States. Give them to Casey.
Yeah,
Casey can put them in a drawer.
I'll stay in here.
You can shove them in, in some closet here in Indiana. So both the Colts and the Patriots. Shut up, Colin. I don't need it. I don't need that smirk behind the camera right there. Pay no attention to that man behind the curtain here on the Wizard of Oz. Both the Colts and Patriots have 14 turnovers on the season. Bottom line, the Colts are 4-0 this year when they win the turnover battle and don't have any turnovers. They're 0-5, obviously, when they cough it up. But the Patriots have suffered a turnover now in 6 straight games. They've got 10 in that span. It's a big reason why they're having a very underwhelming season here. I mean, fellas, Casey, I'll start with you. I mean, did last week just prove that if you take care of the football, this Colts team, on paper, should be able to outlast and make more plays than an inferior team?
I'm not saying that last week proved it. I think ultimately the Browns game proved it. You turn the ball over 4 times, and ultimately you should have won that football game.
Yeah,
so
you lose by a point.
You look there, and it's like, man, if you just take care of the football, you play. Matt, you talk about this all the time. How, and this is no stab at anybody, but like the game of football, sometimes it comes down to it's pretty easy. Mm-hmm. Take care of the football, you score points, you win the game. That's what it is. I think ultimately, when you've seen it time in and time again. This team is 4-0 when they win a turnover battle. Enough said. Like, that's the end of the sentence, because that's what it is, and that is what you have to do. That's what ultimately, when you look at these types of games where you are the better team, you take care of the football, you should win the football game every week. We saw it last week. I think that's what's going to happen on Sunday. You put these teams who, New England, they shouldn't be in this football game. You look at all the stats, everything. When you look at it on paper, they should not be in the game. So if you take care of the football, they're going to put themselves in situations where they're going to give the football away. And that is what the Colts need to do. Just take advantage of it. Hey, Kenny Moore, if you want to go out and have a couple more pick sixes, by all means, I'm all for it. You want to share the wealth,
we'll
that's
take
fine.
it.
Just defensively, take advantage of those instances, and offensively, just take care of the football.
There you go.
Yeah, I mean, Casey
Well
said
said.
it all. Well said. He said it all.
Well, thanks, Bill. How about that? Well said. All right. But pat myself on the back there.
He brought up Kenny Moore. What is your confidence level in that secondary right now? If Juju Brents can't play on Sunday, which would be his 3rd game missed, Kenny Moore is obviously playing at an incredibly high level. He's back to 2021 Kenny Moore right now, Bill. But Darrell Baker Jr., I thought, inserted back into the starting lineup on defense. I thought he played really well, pretty consistent.
Yeah, I thought he played well last week, and I think these guys can play well against the Patriots, playing a team which, as I said earlier, they're having troubles completing passes themselves. They're having trouble as far as creating separation from the receivers from the defensive backs, and also Mac Jones. He has to throw in these tight windows. If you can play tight coverage on these receivers and also put some pressure on Mac Jones. The front four put some pressure on Mac Jones, get to him and make him throw when he's not ready, and make him throw some bad passes. Our DBs could do just well against this team. So I think those guys have played well last week, and hopefully they haven't lost confidence, but hopefully that gave them some more confidence going into this week and for the rest of the season.
And real quick, I mean, we have to – Jalen Jones, I mean, he has been great.
Well done.
Yeah.
This is a guy who a late-round pick, we weren't sure if he's going to make the roster.
Yep.
But then you watch him in camp, and he finds a way to make himself a need on this team through special teams.
Yeah.
And then with injuries, he stepped in. And I'm not saying it's been like he's been a Pro Bowler.
Right.
But you haven't noticed that this is a late-round rookie. I thought he has looked like he belongs. And I've been very, very impressed.
He's helped steady the ship.
Yeah,
Yeah.
100%.
He's helped steady the ship.
When he's got his opportunity, he's went out there and played and
Right.
performed. And
No
that's
doubt.
that's what you want for guys that are backups. When you have the opportunity, go out there and play and perform. And Jalen Jones has done that.
No doubt. No doubt. Yeah, congratulations to him. Number 40 on the roster there, Jalen Jones. All right, this is going to be fun. This is going to be fun. We're closing out the show here. We are going to give you our keys to the game, but we're doing that in the native tongue of German. All right, we're going to Deutschland here. Get out your thesauruses here. I need your 3 to 4 word key to the game on the Colts beating the Patriots on Sunday, Bill Brooks. But you got to do it. You got to lay it down in German. Bill, give me your keys to the game.
Hold up, just the 3 to 4 words, right?
Yeah.
I mean, not the everything.
Whole
else.
analysis.
The whole
All of it.
analysis. No, okay. I just want to make sure.
Well, listen to the sound of music. Go ahead.
All right, mine is going to be Stoppen Zindenlauf.
Oh, let me see here. I took 4 years of German in high school. Say it again.
Stoppen Zindenlauf.
I'm going to say that's be good against the run. Stop the run.
Ding, ding, ding,
All
ding,
right,
ding, 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 ding.
Yeah.
Good, very good.
Yeah,
I think that the Patriots are going to try to
Well,
stop.
it was all context. It was all it's like one of like 6 things, so I got a pretty good odds.
No, because I think that the Patriots have some pretty good running backs. I think Ramondre Stevens is a good running back, and I think Ezekiel is a good running back. And I also think they're going to try to run the ball, try to make sure that keep the ball away from us, but also to help out Mac Jones. So Mac Jones is not trying to throw the ball all over the place and only throw it when they need it. But hopefully they want to try to impose their will against us and try to run the ball. And I think if we can stop the run and make Mac Jones one-dimensional, I think, as you talked about earlier, Casey, I think you'll see the Patriots turn the ball over.
Yeah.
And get some turnovers. And you know what? We get some turnovers, and hopefully we win the turnover battle. More than likely, we should win the football game.
There you go. All right, A+ for Bill
That
Brooks.
sounded pretty good, Bill. Not gonna lie.
German 101 right there.
Thank
All right.
you. Whew,
Casey
tough.
Valier in German, his keys
All right.
to the game, Colts and Patriots.
Gewinnen se du Umschlagschlacht.
All right, say it one more time.
Gewinnen
se
die Umschlagschlacht.
All right, use it in a sentence. History of origin.
No clue.
I'm gonna
German, I would assume.
Yeah. I'm going to say, that's not Latin for, let's see here. I'm going to say that's protect the ball and win in the red zone.
Oh, okay. It was win the turnover battle. So that you're very close. You're very close. I mean,
Like I said, it's one of 6
that
things.
last word was very, very difficult. I really had to listen to the phonetic pronunciation of it a handful of times. But I think we've talked about it a handful of times in this podcast that the Colts are 4-0 when they win the turnover battle. And like I mentioned earlier, when you play teams like the Patriots, who, by all accounts, they're an inferior opponent, just impose your will. Make sure that you do the things on offense where you take care of the football, you stay ahead of the change, do all of that stuff, and force them to have to make those plays. And when you're forcing them to do things, you're going to have those instances where they're going to be putting the ball in harm's way, and I think that's what the defense is.
Yeah.
I think the defense looks at this opponent and says, this is an area where we can do just like we did last week. And I envision this game looking a lot like what we saw last week in Carolina. Maybe offensively it doesn't look as just odd as what we saw, but I think ultimately it's a game the Colts can go in, get ahead early, and they just kind of set the tone throughout.
Keys zu die Spielsta. That was right there. That was Casey Valier's keys to the game. Keys zu die Spielsta.
Die Spielsta.
Yeah, that's Rick Venturi on Sunday.
Very
His
good.
Keys zu die Spielsta. Keys to the game. All right. We're gonna make Frau Price very happy here.
Okay.
4 years of German in high school. Let's see if we can make her proud here. Mit einer Kante spielen. Spielen is play. Okay, spielen is play in German. Mit einer Kante spielen is play with an edge. That's first and foremost because it's a wacky, weird start time. Body clock-wise, you're going to be on Eastern time in the morning, right? This game's kicking off in the States, Eastern time at 9:30 in the morning. So you got to get your body clock right. You got to play with an edge. Make sure you're in the right frame of mind for that weird kickoff time in Germany, I should say. And the second one is nicht gefadren Punkte. Punkte is points in German. Nicht gefadren Punkte. Any guesses?
Score more points.
Score more? No. Nicht means don't or do not.
Okay.
Don't give up easy points.
Nicht gefadren Punkte means do not jeopardize points. Okay? Because New England, they cannot score. So for the Colts, don't jeopardize points. Don't turn the football over in the red zone. Don't make silly mistakes. Ball security against their defense. Very, very important things. Get sevens, but also take threes in the first half when they're there. Points are good in this game. So, nicht gefadren Punkte. 100 Punkte. I heard that a lot in German class. 100 means 100. 100 Punkte, Franz. That means A+, baby. German was my favorite class.
Really?
It really was. It was an easy, language to learn. I had a great teacher. It was just it was a good time. I just enjoyed learning about the language and, the culture. I took 4 years, as I said. My German name was Franz.
Okay.
And that is solely based on Saturday Night Live, the Hans and Franz skit. Pump you up. She's like, Franz, do you have a German heritage? Is that like a family name? Nope. Saturday Night Live.
Oh my goodness.
Going to pump you up.
I love that you guys did the German names. When I took Spanish in high school and we had a kid, he wanted to be Adios. And I was like, it's clever. I didn't think about that. But
Adios is your name?
that was what his Spanish name was.
Goodbye?
All through high school was Adios. And I was like,
do better than
that guy.
We got to do better than that.
Speed guy?
Jeepers.
Fast?
No, he was the class clown.
Oh, okay.
He wanted to be funny and all
right.
that. But.
Well, very good. I appreciate you guys. Well done right there. Thanks for playing along.
So are we going to have any calls in German?
Perhaps.
Okay.
Perhaps.
Ooh.
Yeah, no promises.
I mean, I know this. I mean,
my favorite German word was Taschenrechner, which is calculator. Taschenrechner.
All right, so
How
I would love to see that included at some point.
How are you going to include that in the game?
Yards per carry. Get out my Taschenrechner. Jonathan Taylor averaging 7.4 yards per carry on the Taschenrechner. We'll see. Where there's a will, there's a way. That's what I've discovered right there.
I love it.
All right, speaking of body clock, what time are you setting your alarm for Sunday?
Ooh.
You go on the air at 6:30.
Yeah, that's going to be like a 4 o'clock, 4:30 alarm clock, getting up in the morning.
Good luck to you. You too.
Probably taking a quick shower to kind of wake up there and get down to the studio.
You know what I've noticed, and Matt can probably attest to this. Bill, you remember this back in the day when you have little kids. I'll set an alarm, but ultimately when I set my alarm early,
you don't need one.
That's when the kids will wake me up even earlier than I need to be up. So I'm assuming that your alarm clock will probably be very similar to mine. It'll just be some screaming kid. Hey Dad, it's time to eat. Or no, come on. So that's what I'm expecting on Sunday for sure.
Well, good luck to you, fellas. Good luck
you
to
too.
you. Yeah.
Well, hopefully you
too.
can sleep,
Stay a little.
man.
Yeah.
You too on the long flight,
around
man.
9:30 tonight. Just dear Lord, we like Matt Taylor. Please keep him on the plane. Please keep him safe.
I will say a prayer for you and the rest of the crew that's flying over there.
Anyways, it's going to be a good trip. Cannot wait. Billy, good luck. Good luck on the pregame show at 6:30. Casey Valier countdown to kickoff at 8:30. And then it's the Colts and Patriots, 9:30 in the morning. You can see it on the NFL Network, and then locally, Fox 59 is going to have it. And then you can listen to it, of course, here on the Bell Tire Radio Network and our flagship stations in Indianapolis, 93.5, 107.5 The Fan, and the sister station there, 97.1 Hank FM. Colts and Patriots in Germany, and we will talk to you next week on the Official Colts Podcast, brought to you by Wynn Las Vegas. So long, everybody.